Tom, I am thrilled for myself, who is new to the channel and getting to know your content. I'm pretty excited to see a full-blown tour of Acme City. And
David, while I was putting Tracy down, I saw this on my phone. This is from Jerry Wayne Longmire. Those are all cars for Driven Dreams.
oh my goodness, how about that?
Yeah. He says they went to the post office today and his wife called him in shock. Pretty sure this is all cars for Driven Dreams Day of Giving. It's an overwhelming act of kindness. It's a bit of a rarity these days. I've teared up a few times trying to wrap my head around the amount of joy this is going to provide.
Yeah.
It's a really cool. I got to show that to Mark because that's really awesome. He's a good dude. I'm glad he's taken up that thing. But yeah. All right. Well, we'll do our intro real quick.
All right. All right. I'll let Chuck go.
Okay. Need to update the one in our doc because it is not
bad.
It's okay. I need to go through our list of patrons anyway because I'm pretty sure that some people have come on or dropped off since I last updated it. Which happens. So, all right. In 3, 2.
You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. We're so glad you're here with us today. I want to give a special welcome to our executive producer level patrons that help make the show go. That would be First and 64th Customs, Dean himself, DJI Web, DrivenDreams.org. Thank you, Mark. Elevation Diecast Racing, Jason J. Goldenberg, Louis Big Lou Tanahara, Mad Visions, thanks Pia, Reviews Through Another Lens, Twice Diecast, thanks David, and Video Geek Productions. If you want to learn how you can join the ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com, where we have merch, links to our various socials. You can listen to us, you can watch us, you can follow our Instagram and see us when we live stream from there sometimes. Just links to everything, including drivendreams.org, which Diecast Day of Giving is coming up. We are in October. Can you believe it? And that means Diecast Day of Giving is right around the corner. It's what day, David?
Right around the corner, Chuck. We'll have that link we'll have that link below.
We are bad partners, Mark. We're sorry. I know it's sometime in mid-October. So check that out at drivendreams.org. There is a link there. And of course, if you want to join us without going to Patreon, you can click the little join button if you're watching us here on YouTube. And did you know that we're on YouTube? If you listen to us on Spotify or your favorite podcasting app, we have a video version, and that's going to be very important for today's episode. But before I get to that, I am going to introduce my colleague, my co-host, my friend, Mr. David Johns. David, how the heck are you today?
I'm doing great, Chuck. Pumped for this episode.
I am too. Tom has been all kinds of things for me, an inspiration, a challenge. I daydream about having that level of space. And folks, you're gonna love seeing a tour of Acme City here in a little bit. It's amazing what people are doing in the hobby, and Tom's got something really cool beyond the diorama, which is hard to believe, but there's something even cooler behind that, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But first, I'm going to introduce Tom Kalinowski, mayor of Acme City, mayor of possibly the greatest 164 city in the Western Hemisphere. Tom, welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you here on Diecast Breakdown.
Thank you for having me.
So, Tom, for those who don't know, tell us all a little bit about why you chose 164 and why you dove so hard into the world building side of 164 Diecast.
Well, I've always, when I grew up, of course, Hot Wheels and Matchboxes. So the size was very familiar to me. And I always collected 164 on and off for a number of years. I had the cars in a box in the closet, but I found like the larger scales, 124s and the 118s, were just too big. And I couldn't get all the cars I wanted. So 164 fit best for my size requirements. I like variety, as you can tell.
Sure. And you've got kind of a theme going with your diorama. You've got kind of like an era specific to yours. So tell me a little bit about when you started to build Acme City and what the thought process was behind creating such a large display.
Well, when I first started, the only thing I wanted to build was a TV stand, a coffee table, basically. I used to ride motorcycles for years and years, very involved in it, club member, all that. And my back went out and my balance went out in around 2007, 2008, and I couldn't ride anymore. And my whole life was basically motorcycle. I needed something to do. So I started building furniture, but then I ran out of room and gave away furniture. And then I got to the point where if I want to build more, I'm going to have to sell this stuff. And I didn't really want to do that. And I just decided I built this little coffee table. I really liked the Miller Engineering signs and I wanted to have some. So I thought this would be a good way to display that plus the diecast I had. So I made a little Chevy dealer but that just started the itch. So then I went to the 2x4 foot section, which you'll see in the upcoming tour. And that went to another 2x4 section, and then to another 2x4 section, and then another 2x4 section. And then I went to some 2x8 sections, and then finally 8x4s. But the whole place is built that you can move it. That's why I built it modularly. All the sections have their own independent power systems, so you can run them independently. You can just take that 2x4 section and display it by itself if you wanted to.
Nice. So do you take these on the road? Do you do like mobile displays?
I have a few travelers, the Waffle House. You'll see that later, and the Texaco station that goes along with it. Those two are built specifically to tour with. I'm hoping that maybe next year I'm going to do the Farm Toy Show, the National. I was going to might be able to compete in that. I have a few more buildings I need to build yet, so it all depends on whether I get them. I just have so many projects in the way right now. But I also wanted to take some traveling dioramas to like nursing homes, stuff like that, and show people could look at it and reminisce kind of thing.
Oh, that's a really cool idea. Yeah. And, the setup that you have, like, is there kind of like, I mean, you can really get lost in the amount of different diorama type techniques and different buildings and kits and stuff. Is there a specific criterion that you look for when it comes to adding a building or adding a section to Acme City?
I do put a lot of thought into it. I will think about a project. Some of these projects I've had in my mind for years, like the drag strip. Started it last November, but I thought about it for at least 3 or 4 years before that. Basically, my criteria is I have kind of in my mind a general plan of what I want and what buildings, what businesses I want to represent, and I got to go from there. I also like if I'm looking at a kit, I want to make sure that kit has everything's proper on it. All the portions are right. The window proportions are correct. It doesn't look toyish. But most of the time, I build by scratch. Though I'll look at a building, think about it like the truck stop is actually based off a real truck stop in Bloomington, Illinois called the 5 Star. And it's still standing, but it's not a truck stop anymore. They just use it as a warehouse. But what I did is I used Google Earth and Street View to get the general idea and the general measurements of the building. And then a friend of mine, Sandy Sandberg from Decatur, he's a big 1/64 scale and other scale creator. He took a trip up to Bloomington for me and measured all the windows. Got all the measurements that I couldn't get off Street View, couldn't get off Google Earth. And so I based that and plus a couple pictures that I found on the internet of postcards of the place. And I built it from there.
Very cool. Very cool. What year is it in Acme City?
1969, the Summer of Love.
Very nice.
More specifically, August. It's right about the time, late summer, when the new cars are coming into the dealerships. And it's right about the time of Woodstock. Got the hippies running around.
Yep.
But I picked that year mostly because The amount of available vehicles for that year was one influence, but also that's the time that they started transitioning from a lot of the neon lights into the backlit fluorescence. So you have some of both.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like the last hurrah in a way for the traditional neon areas, business signs, and before they started gentrifying all that stuff.
Sure.
Making it ugly. Now every town looks like another town. Back in the day, sounds looked different. I mean, they had similar stuff, but it was different.
Yeah, I do want to do a diorama at some point, like a large scale one. And I've always thought that mine would be, because I'm a millennial and this was kind of like my coming of age time, would be like 1998, 1999. Because that was also kind of the last gasp for me of like, there were still kids in high school that were driving muscle cars. And there were still, and it gives me like that leeway of, I can have more modern stuff in there, but at the same time, it was still not unheard of to see VW Beetles driving around like the old VW Beetles, or like I drove my 64 Valiant to the tech school for high school classes and then parked it next to another kid who had a 68 Chevelle and another one that had a 74 Trans Am. So it was still not unheard of.
Back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Legendary Hollywood concept artist and designer Fireball Tim Lawrence has created 3 exclusive pieces of automotive art based on the 3 hosts of Diecast Breakdown. Get these and other brilliant designs printed on mugs and more at fireballtimgarage.art today.
Cast Heads magazine is a digital publication dedicated to enhancing the lives of collectors all across the world by providing information on new models, reviews on brands and diecast accessories like figures and dioramas, throwing light on customizers, photographers and people who contribute to making the diecast world vibrant. Subscribe to Cast Heads for free and look for collaborations with Diecast Media Network at castheadsmagazine.com.
And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
Let's do a little walk and talk. Why don't you take us down the road, down the street, and give us a little history as we look at things?
I guess we'll just start here in the old city.
I love it.
There's a shot down the whole length. It is 40 feet long.
Good gracious.
By 4 feet deep. And it all started with a coffee table.
That is something.
There's the bus station. That's scratch built. Most of the buildings are scratch built. I do have some kits, mostly S-scale kits that I've acquired. I also have some HO kits that I modified a bit. Shot down here.
And just to clarify, as we're looking, this is 1/64 scale, correct?
Yes, it is. Yep, 164.
Okay. All right. So do we have is this the origin, like the beginning table that you were mentioning?
The first part, let's move down here and we'll go to the first one. Actually, the coffee table is down here. I repurposed it. It started all out with a coffee table, and I was going to use it for a TV stand. And I fell in love with the Miller engineering signs. And decided that I wanted to have a little place to display my small collection of die-cast. And I was building furniture at the time, so I built this little table. And it wasn't enough. After a while, I got kind of bored with it. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to build a 2x4 foot section, something I can carry around, maybe take to shows or something like that. And so I started with this. And this was the first building that I built. And this is a twin whistle kit. And at the time, it was like the one of the first ones he sold because he just came out with them. And then I built the second kit, which is over here. This is another twin whistle kit.
So twin whistle is that a customizer, a diorama maker?
They make buildings for the model railroad.
Gotcha.
Mostly.
Okay. Twin whistle. All right.
Twin whistle, yep. They specialize in fire stations. But they also have a really great little gas station kit, which is pretty easy to put together, actually. And then they have harder kits like the A&W root beer, which basically comes as a box of plastic. But if you follow the instructions, but with that,
Right.
I learned how to scratch build with that. So this was the first section. Then I decided to build a second section. And we have the Texaco station there, and that's a scratch build.
Now, Tom, do you find most kit makers prefer the 50s and 60s style buildings, architecture?
Well, as far as the railroad guys go, there's two major factions. It doesn't matter what scale. Either you're a steam guy or you're a diesel guy. Those are two different eras, but they did kind of commingle in the 50s and 60s when they were phasing out the steam locomotives and bringing in the diesels. And so, yeah, a lot of them are kind of stuck in the 50s and 60s and older kind of.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it looks great with all of the amazing diecast cars that we have from that era.
This one back here originally was a kit, and it was from Pine Canyon, which isn't in existence anymore. And when I got this one, it was basically somebody put it together and didn't do a good job of it. It was really badly warped. So I had to straighten her out a bit. This is another Pine Canyon kit there.
So I got to ask, what is the cotton? Is that a rocket taking off? What have we got going on there?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little Wile E. Coyote up there.
How about that?
And this was originally a Walthers show scale building.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have several videos where I show how I turned it into a 1/64 scale by adding height to the walls.
I gotcha. Okay.
And there's a lot of HO kits, not all of them, but you can mess around with them and add some height to the walls and maybe add better regular scale, proper size doors. And you can come up with something. Because when I first started 11 years ago, there was virtually hardly anything in 1/64 as far as build go. You basically, Greenlight was just starting to come out with their garage, which isn't very prototypical. It's not very accurate. It's kind of a toy piece. I mean, kudos to them for releasing buildings, but they are a bit toy-like in my opinion.
Right.
So I had to do a lot of scavenging. I had to learn how to build. And that was the big thing, was learning how to scratch build. Because most of these buildings are either scratch built or they're heavily modified.
I want you to touch on that a little bit more, because to a diecast collector, that may not mean we can't appreciate the extra amount of work that is when you say something is scratch built versus just putting together a kit and maybe doing some weathering on it. How much more is it?
I'm going to do a little illustration here. I do have videos of how I build with the scratch build and that. But this is what I start out with. Sorry, the light's not the greatest here. But this is what I start out with, which is polystyrene sheets. And I cut them. They have shapes too. They have girders, rods, all kinds of different shapes. So basically what I do is I start off with a pile of plastic that looks a lot like that. And then I spend about 60 hours to 180 hours cutting and making parts and putting it all together until you get something that looks like that over there.
That's crazy, Tom. 60, 80 hours. I mean, that's 2 full work weeks to crank out a building.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a while. I mean, I've been working on this for 11 years now, and it depends on how complicated the building is how long it takes, of course.
Don't touch that dial. Diecast Breakdown will be right back after these messages. Diecast Breakdown is produced in partnership with Twice Diecast and Driven Dreams Org on YouTube. Check out their channels in the video description and subscribe for more epic diecast content.
Hey, this is Larry Wood.
This is Derek from Honest Diecast.
Hey, this is Chad Reed from Round 2.
This is Mike from Gaslands.
The SRT Jovita Show.
This is Champion DJ K.
This is Mad Vision here.
This is Diecast Dude.
And you're watching Diecast Breakdown.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of this week's episode of Diecast Breakdown.
So, Tom, you built all this stuff. You've had this thing going for quite some time now. So how many years have you been building? 11 years. And then you had like probably one of the biggest disasters that could possibly happen to a display like this. So tell me about that and tell me about the recovery.
Oh, the flood.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Great Flood. That was a very dark day.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was we were having our kitchen remodeled.
Mm-hmm.
And the contractor, when he reinstalled the dishwasher, the drain hose slipped off of the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was pouring into the back of the wall.
Oh.
And it followed the wall down into the basement, and it rained on a good section of the diorama. Basically, it was this area right here that took the hit of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And it warped the table so bad. This was up about an inch, this curb.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like wavy.
Sure.
The building was tilted backwards. That building over there was puffed up because there was a big warp underneath it. I lost some of my electronics through that, damaged a couple of the signs. I had to remove one of the signs that was up there. I had the girl diving off the diving board motel sign up on top of there, and that got destroyed. Did a lot of damage. But the contractor was a great guy. He brought in this huge industrial dehumidifier, and that helped actually an immense amount. I was able to get this to flatten out again.
Oh, wow. You didn't have to replace it.
No, I was surprised. And then this building here, I basically shimmed it. It's still, the ground is still bent underneath it. But I just basically, my wife had a great idea. She was like, why don't you put a planter in front of it? And that way, when you raise it up, you can make it level and it looks natural. So that's what I did with that.
Very clever.
The insurance company was great. The guy had good insurance. And they didn't question my claim, and I got a nice little chunk of money for it. I was able to not only fix the damage, but I was able to buy a bunch more supplies, and it helped propel me a bit forward.
Oh, that's
fantastic. Actually, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. It was a horrible thing to happen. It was a lot of stress.
Oh yeah.
When you see your baby get hurt, so to speak, and it's like, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I was grieving for you when I saw the Facebook post. I was like, oh man, all that work. I was so disheartened for you. And I'm so glad to see it all back together. Now I gotta ask, we're looking at these amazing light displays and stuff. When you're making stuff from scratch, are you doing like these traffic lights and stuff too, or are those kits that you incorporated into the build?
The streetlights are actually from an eBay seller called We Honest from China. And the name is strange, but when I was looking for LEDs and streetlights and stuff like that, I discovered them, and they were like one of the only guys that had them at the time. So I decided to take a chance with them, and they're a great company. They've grown a little bit since then. And I've bought most of my LEDs from them. Some from Evans Designs, like that chain of lights that you see on the used car lot. That's from Evans Designs. And then that flickering, I'm going to do a slow pan so I don't get anybody sick. You can see that light flashing over there by the hotel.
Oh yeah, the TV lights, yeah.
Yep, that's Evans Designs also.
That's cool.
Yeah, so but that stuff I haven't made. And this stuff is actually, it's HO. I could shim it to get it up a little higher, but it's close enough. The street lights are about 4 inches tall, so they scale out okay. I mean, my semi trucks clear them pretty well.
Yeah. Well, and two, you got to kind of work with, like, realistically, like, we're not used to seeing street lights and traffic lights from above, so they don't seem like they're that high when we see them.
Right.
But if you were to like actually look at, like, especially if you were going down like the interstate or something, you look at some of the lights that are over the interstate that are just incredibly tall. Like if you were to put them in a display like this, they might even look a little goofy, because you'd go, why are they so much taller than everything? Like they would stand out above everything else. So like these feel more like they're sitting naturally in the display. So I think that's really cool. Yeah. And so these different, like the motel and the OK used cars, I assume those are also kits.
The OK used cars is a sign. Well, they don't make it anymore. It's been discontinued, but Miller Engineering made that one. And that is actually what the one we're looking at is the very first sign that I bought.
Okay.
That's what started it all, was that particular sign right there.
I can see why. It's a gorgeous sign.
So that was the first sign. Now, the motel sign over here is actually a kit from Miller Engineering. It's a universal kit, and it comes with basically a rectangular sheet of EL with a bunch of power leads on them. So you can cut different pieces off of it. And I just basically cut out the letters and put some gel overlay on it.
No, that's awesome.
And that's they call it the animated sign.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, yeah, the Miller Engineering stuff is pretty good. The only problem with electroluminescent is it has a half-life, they call it, where it goes dim.
Sure.
This is the original sign.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to rotate to a newer sign that I bought later. And you can see the difference in the brightness.
Yeah, it's significantly different. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I don't run my diorama very much as far as the power on. Because you got about anywhere from about 600 to 1,500 hours before the signs go dim like that. And I don't want my signs to go dim.
Yeah. No, well, we appreciate you putting it on for us. So it's getting preserved here for posterity on the Diecast Breakdown. Now, I'm seeing a lot of Auto World and a lot of Greenlight, a lot of M2 in there. Are there any other brands that you really like working with your diorama?
Well, first of all is Auto World. Auto World is, they're the most consistent, properly scaled cars out there. And the other companies are getting better, but used to see a lot of float as far as the scales. Like M2s tend to run a little large. Johnny Lightnings tend to run a little small and all over because they're like 10 different companies' castings all mixed in. Greenlight is hit and miss. They've gotten better over the years, especially their later offerings like the Cadillacs and the Impalas. Those are excellent and they're properly scaled. Having things in proper scale is important because I'm trying for 90% realism and about 10% of whimsy.
Right.
And
I love it.
I have a different selection of cars. I got a little bit of everything. There's even some Hot Wheels in there, but most of the Hot Wheels or Matchboxes, they'd be heavily modified, or if they're like a Hot Wheel 100% series, or they call that.
Yep, I remember. Yep.
So I have a few of those, but I would say the majority is from Auto World, Greenlight, and M2.
I think I'm going to put one on your radar if you weren't aware. IXO America, IXO.
Oh yes, very aware of them.
Absolutely going to be perfect for the city, I think.
Oh yeah, I definitely plan on getting some of their products especially the trucks, once I get some money.
I'll tell you, Tom, I am loving the diversity of the vehicles. We've seen buses, we've seen tractor trailers. Those are some of the pieces that maybe we don't see in a lot of collections. Who makes that bus, for example?
This bus is actually what is this? I forgot the name. Sorry. White Rose.
White Rose. Okay.
White Rose. It's an American Eagle bus, and I modified it. It was originally a Penn State team bus. And I had a friend of mine who does custom decals. Our names.
Oh, they nailed it.
Yeah. So I had to make the decals based. I sent them a bunch of pictures, and they did a great job on the decals. And on the White Rose buses, they don't have the back windows because they're set up for like tour buses.
Right.
They did a lot of tour bus sports teams commemorations. So I didn't want to go through I was afraid my skills in metalworking weren't up.
You made the right call.
So I had them just do the windows in black.
Yeah, I would assume if they're kind of a marketing thing, that's where you'd slap a big old logo of whatever entity you're trying to market. But those windows look great. Well done on that.
Yeah, they're on eBay. I'm trying to think of the name. They first response or not first response, but they do a lot of police decals.
Okay.
Rhonda Curley is the name of the person that runs it, but she does a lot of my custom work, stuff like that, because she has an Alps printer and it can print in white, where most decal people can't print in white real well. And so it turns out better with an Alps printer. But she's been a big help as far as getting the proper decals for things. And because I've had to make a lot of stuff for this. I mean, when I started, there was very, very little available in 160.
Right. Now this seems like a place that every diecast collector could have on display in their own collection. We've all got cars that we have cannibalized for customs, or we've just messed them up trying to make into a custom. So how fun is it to have a junkyard?
It's entertaining. I actually have a lot more junk cars, but I weathered probably about 30 or 40 cars, but I pulled most of them out so that I could take them to shows. And so my junkyard's a little empty right now, but
yeah,
basically, let me grab this one here. So I pull it to the camera properly and get it focused here. This is an M2.
That is extremely well done. You did all the weathering on that?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, I did the weathering. The brake drums are from a guy off eBay. His name's Pixel Jankowski. I don't remember his eBay name. Improbable Garage, I think, is what his eBay name is. But he has the brake drums.
That's crazy. They look amazing.
This was done with mostly weathering powder.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically the clear coat, what they call it, a dull coat, Tester's dull coat.
Dull coat, yep.
But I have videos on my channel that I show exactly how to do it. So if anybody wants to learn how to do it, all they really have to do is watch the channel. If they have any questions, they can always ask.
Look, we'd be remiss to not one more time plug the name of the channel while we're touring.
The name of the channel is Acme City.
Acme City on YouTube.
Yep. Acme City on YouTube, which is also the name of the diorama.
Oh, I love this. The lights are what's getting me, Tom. It's next level when it's lit up. You've got I assume they're all LEDs, but they look like neon. Can you tell us about the lights?
Let me tell you about the lights. I'm sorry to interrupt you. These are actually electroluminescent, which is similar to what you would see. You remember the old Timex, the glow?
Yes, absolutely.
Those are electroluminescent. And it's just basically a panel. You add electricity to it, and it lights up. And they can make it into filaments, and they can make it into panels. And that's what above the Eric sign is the filament. And then the bottom is an EL panel sign. And the panel signs are from Miller Engineering. And those are the only guys that make them. And the wire, I got a couple different places I get the wire from. Cool Wires is one. And you just buy the kits. And it's not really it's a little finicky, but once you get used to working with it, you can have some really great results.
Can we hop back to the donut shop and maybe keep going down the street? I just love kind of panning. Almost like we were a drone coming over the town.
Sure. This is a Matchbox service station from the 1960s that my wife bought on eBay, and it was all broken and cracked, but she really liked the roof line. And so I basically cut it apart and added some other pieces to it. Like part of that is from one of the old Mortar Max dioramas. They did those little dioramas probably 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
And they'd have like a face little building, just a real tiny little thing. But I cut the doors and everything off of that. And that's been heavily modified.
Car lots are a must, right? You got to have a car lot. You can show more diecast cars.
Oh, yeah. We have quite a few of them. This is set. These are 1970, but I have it set in the summer of 69. So The 70s are in early this year. This is the project that took the most time and money, and that is the truck stop.
How long did that one take?
180 hours.
Yikes.
And about $2,500.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get into that a little bit. As you're talking about it, give us kind of the unexpected cost associated with doing projects like this.
Well, I'm used to doing it now, but your material costs, I mean, everything's gone high. So one thing that you'd probably be most surprised about is the cost of the plastic. A building like this would have probably about maybe $100 of plastic into it, plastic sheets and various shapes and that. And that's just for the building shell. That doesn't include the paint or any of the details or any of that signage. So the cost of materials is probably about the biggest surprise you hit.
Right. Is there a structure behind those walls, or does the styrene support itself? Like
the styrene supports itself.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Each of these buildings can be picked up. They're not glued down. They're basically just held to the table by their wiring.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have an port going through. Some of these buildings have their own power supplies, and some have a shared one. This one, I believe, has at least 2 power supplies inside of it. Let's see if I can.
So how have you not been tempted to run a train track behind that or run a circle around it?
I get that question a lot from, especially the model railroad guys. They're like, man, that'd be just so much more awesome if you'd run a train on it. And it's like, well, there's a couple reasons. I mean, when I first started, I looked at the price of model trains in S scale, and it's extremely expensive. I mean, just to get a decent looking, decent running locomotive and cars, you're talking $1,000 plus. I really wanted people to look at this and go, this just looks exactly like Main Street back home back in the early 70s, late 60s.
I mean, yeah, you can hear the music, you can feel the breeze. It's just
how's that?
Something, yeah, there's just something inside of us that all loves stuff in miniature. I'm convinced. Love the drive-in theater.
The drive-in theater is made to take an iPad in it. So you can show
well
movies.
Done. Well played.
If I would have done the drive-in theater again, I'd probably use the Walther's HO kit and make it a little bigger. Maybe it's that one's set up for older, smaller pads though. So I'd probably have to make my own anyways.
As we travel through here, was there a specific city that this was modeled after?
Not really. It's Route 66 themed, and it's also Main Street themed. So, but it could be anywhere America. Every city had places that looked pretty much like this. They had every business had a flash of neon or a backlit fluorescent or some kind of large sign, brighter colors. So this could be anywhere USA. I have it located in central Illinois along Route 66.
Gotcha.
And one of the reasons is because, well, I live in Illinois, but also Illinois is flat. Very, very flat, especially in the middle of the state. Not so much where I live. I live in the only hilly part of the state, but the rest of the state is pretty flat, especially where Route 66 goes through. I have 46 feet of basement. And let's pan, we'll show you the rest. There's the drag strip.
What's the future look like?
Well, the future, I'm hoping, is going to be across the road where you can see those tables are, and that's where the drag strip is currently located, which is something I'm going to be adding to the channel. And we're going to do regular drag racing, diecast drag racing.
That's fantastic.
Just like the gravity racers. I'm sure you guys are aware of those guys. And they're doing pretty well as far as views and that, and people are really getting into it. I remember when they first started, like 3D Bot Maker, I remember when he was just starting, how crude his stuff was, and it got better and better over time. but I was like, I could do something like that, but I didn't want to do gravity racing, and I wanted to do drag racing. There's the inside of the club.
Look at that. Get out of here.
I'd show it closer, but there's nudity in there.
So that is so well done. That would be one of those unexpected costs when you have to buy, what is that, 100 figures?
Yeah, figures have always been a challenge. I'm lucky now that with 3D printing and basically companies like Mijo that are coming out with the American series, that's really saved my bacon, so to speak, because it was always hard to get figures.
Now, who does the scooters? Those look cool, and the bikes.
The bikes, they're a mix. Some of them are 3D printed, some are green light, some are micro machines.
Mm-hmm.
Just a different selection of them. Any times I can find a decent motorcycle, I generally pick it up because I'd like to build the club, so to speak. I'm still a member of a motorcycle club. I'm just retired.
Gotcha.
Motorcycle and biking was my life for up to about 10 years ago when my back went and I couldn't ride anymore. So I had to find something else to do, and that's how I got into this.
It doesn't look like you do anything halfway. You
are
both feet in the deep end. It's spectacular seeing a little bit of the behind the scenes. That's really cool. Some people are scared off when you look at this. It's overwhelming. And you're like, I'll never get something this amazing. So why bother? But talk about how someone could get started. What is the easiest way to get started and not be overwhelmed? You don't have to have the lights. You don't have to have the weathering right out of the gate. What would a beginner be able to handle on their first build?
Start with something like this. The twin whistle 2-bay gas station. It's basically 4 walls, a roof. Everything is cut for you. You'll have to do some filing trimming, but if you could put together a model car kit, you could put together that easily. It's an easy kit. It's basically building a box. When you're building think about when you're building a scratch built building, you're basically building their boxes.
Yep.
They're just filled with people and our stuff. So 4 walls and a top, you're building a rectangle. The important thing is basically getting your sizes, your proportions right. And that's one thing I see with some builders is that they do good work, but then when you look at their doors are just way out of scale, or they use HO and they don't modify them. But I would say probably the easiest way really is to, if you wanted just to get started as a diorama, is to get like the GT. They got that Shell station and the Starbucks or Monster Coffee or whatever. You could buy stuff like that. There's the 3D printer guys on Etsy and eBay are starting to come out with better stuff. I still haven't used any 3D printed buildings yet, just because I'm not satisfied with the details in them yet. They're still, in my view, a little crude, and I can build them. So that's what I do. But just start off with something small. I started off with building a gas station. And then it went to a couple other buildings, and then it went to another section, and then to another section, and and on and on and on and on.
Right. So don't go buy 5 10-foot tables and throw them in your basement to start.
Start with something small. I would start with a simple 1 building, 1 parking lot. You could build it out of plastic, like I do, styrene, or you could build it out of cardboard. The photoreal stuff that they got out now is pretty good as far as showing detail, but it's flat. It's all printed flat. So what I've seen, was his name, Frank Mobius, is from Scale Art. He takes that photoreal stuff and then he cuts it apart and makes it 3D. He'll cut the door and recess the door. He'll cut around the trim and bring that out a little bit, cut the windows out, change things to where something that's basically made out of paper actually looks pretty good. I do enjoy his work, and it shows you what you can do. You don't have to go whole hog. And then here's the drag strip.
I want to add one thing when you're thinking about building. Is there any truth? And I've always wondered this myself, that sometimes it's just the suggestion of the detail, as opposed to sitting there with a magnifying glass and getting every precise detail that you think you need to have on there that honestly may not even be visible. Is there a little bit of grace that builders can have? You don't have to have everything to where if you zoomed in 100 times, it's going to be perfect. Sometimes you can get away with just making someone's eye think that they're seeing what they're seeing.
Oh yeah, definitely. My rule is if you can't see it, I'm not worried about it.
Amen. And that'll free up a lot of builders.
I've always said it's all mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter.
So there you go.
And you can always cover up your mistakes. That's one thing too. If you start on making a building, say you're building like I do, scratch building with styrene, and you make a mistake. I make mistakes all the time. Mess up a wall. Well, you can always get other piece of styrene and put it over the top of the wall, and it's hidden forever. You miscut a window, but you can't get rid of the wall. Well, you just put a new wall over the top of the old wall with a properly cut window.
Oh yeah, I've done that many times. Hey.
Are any Easter eggs in there? Anything that's a little personal that you've hidden?
What isn't an Easter egg?
Yes, there are. I don't know if I can mention it because I assume that this is a family channel.
Generally speaking,
going back to the club on that one.
Yeah.
Well, there are certain things that are behind closed doors that should stay there. I guess.
Motel. That's exactly what I was thinking, Chuck.
Yeah. But yeah, there are. I mean, the thing is you'd have to ask me to show them to you because I don't have them where somebody would see them unless they were really, really looking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have kids that come through here occasionally, family members and that. I don't have regular tours, but once in a while, when somebody asks that a friend or whatever, I'll have them come down and look. And so I want to keep it, outwardly rated G for the most part, but I also want to show the grittiness of the city. I mean, this was back in the 60s. Cities were gritty back then. I used to drive taxi cab in Madison, Wisconsin, and back in there, I did it in up to 2020 is when I retired, but I started back in the 80s. And then quit for like 25 years, did a bunch of other stuff, and then came back to cab driving. But one thing I loved about cab driving was the grittiness of the city, the night. And I wanted to kind of show that in the diorama, that because not everything's clean. You got dirt, you got grime, you got crime, you got working girls on the street. So you got all kinds of things in a city. And I try to reflect all that in Acme City.
True to life.
What was the story behind the name Acme City?
So I had a company that I tried to get going about 15 years ago, and I picked the name Acme because I loved the cartoons, the American buddies, and I thought Acme makes everything. So then it was like one of those companies that it used to be, they picked Acme because it was like you'd go early in the phone book.
Sure.
Because AC would be earlier than a lot of other people. So that's
Double A auto repair and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why Acme became a real common name. And then the cartoonists grasped on that and made so everything became Acme. So I just thought it was a good name for a city.
No, I like it. It's appropriate. It feels vintage. It also kind of has a little wink and a nod to that cartoonishness. The whimsy of having your own little world. And it's funny. I love the drag strip. I've been following the drag strip as you've been posting more stuff on that. And I think it's so cool because I live just down the road here from Gainesville Speedway, where they do the Gator Nationals every year. And you can hear the Top Fuel dragsters from miles away when it's in town. So I've spent plenty of hours with my buddies in a parking lot that looks just like that, doing tested tune nights. And I love the detail with the little different concrete colors, and it's just a wild setup that you've got going on.
I'm hoping to start doing regular racing on my channel starting probably mid-December. I'm gunning for right now. Right now I'm in the testing stage. I'm running the cars, trying to get the times figured out, troubleshoot the cars, make sure that they're reliable. They're all custom made. So it's every time you're working with custom, you're going to deal with problems.
Yeah.
And then I had to modify the track several times because it wasn't long enough. Like a standard slot car stops pretty quick, but these guys are metal, and they're die-cast. This is a green light.
Oh, wow.
You got to explain this.
Okay, well, what this is a green light, and I don't know if you've seen the slot car conversions that people are doing.
I haven't followed that one that closely, no.
It's starting to pick up, but what most people do is they take a slot car chassis, and they take the shell of the die cast, and they just mount the slot car chassis underneath. Where these are totally different. This is not a slot car chassis. This is the standard green light chassis that came with it. What he did is he cut it apart, and he used the chassis as the frame, put a electric mortar in with your rear drive and everything. And he does it in a way that most of the time, he keeps the interior intact.
Wow.
But yeah, this is like out of this world, Chuck. Like, imagine your favorite diecast car. Now you can drag race it.
That's pretty wild.
The name of the guy who does it is Dale Jones. He runs DJ's Diecast Conversions. He's out of Chicago. And I've been a long time admirer of his work. And he wouldn't sell his cars at first. And then I asked him last year, I said, hey, would you be willing to do a bunch of cars for me? And he said, yeah. And so then I came up with the money, and he made them for me. And I sent the cars in because I wanted to pick the cars, but he has like 2,000 of them that he has for sale right now.
Oh, wow. He's a busy guy.
He is a busy guy. Oh, yeah.
Do you mind divulging what they cost?
With shipping and that, about $75 a piece.
Okay. And do they all have the same motor?
They have different mortars. He puts different mortars in for different cars. Some depends on the size of the car and how he can place it. But he has several different mortars that he does.
Like I'm trying to figure out, guys, like, how do I make my car faster? Are we like messing with the width of the tire?
Weight would probably be one. Wind resistance would be another. Weight, wind resistance, how the car rolls. I mean, you guys notice that some diecast rolls better than others.
Yep.
Some green lights you can take out of the package, you can roll them around like a Hot Wheel, and other ones they don't roll at all.
So does the base have to be plastic, or can it be metal?
It can be metal too. They're both. Here's
Chuck, I need that Diecast Breakdown stock car to be on this track.
Here's I do offer sponsorships. You can sponsor a car.
I noticed you had a space for rent billboard. I was intrigued.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that space is for rent. I'm looking for sponsors. And if you guys want to sponsor, we can talk, definitely.
All right.
Either we get your up on the billboard.
We'll take that discussion offline if you don't want to talk shop in the middle of the recording. But yeah, that's really fun.
Flying down the track, Chuck.
Yeah, you could send.
Hey, Tom has standards, David. I don't know about putting a PT Cruiser on the.
I'm going to do some really weird racing too. I mean, I'm basically most of the cars that I've got right now are period correct for the diorama. But the drag strip is kind of on its own, and I can do cars from the 70s. I can do cars from the 80s. I can do modern cars on this because it is separate from the other diorama. You guys are familiar with the Dragula, right? From Johnny Lightning.
Oh, sure,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Or the Munsters show, but yeah.
Yes, and the Munsters.
Yeah.
He put a mortar in one of these.
Wow. I don't know where. That thing's tiny.
And yeah, exactly. He put a mortar in it. Not this one in particular, but in one of these works.
That's amazing.
He also did the same with the Munster the Munstermobile also.
Yeah, the something coach. I can't remember what
The
it's called.
coach, yeah. He did the same thing with that. So me and him are kind of in a partnership, a strategic partnership in a way. He's going to send me cars that I can use for specific races. Like I might do a station wagon shootout one week. Maybe the next month I might do a minivan or SUV shootout or whatever. Mustang shootout, on and on, Camaro, whatever. So during the season, there'll be the regular races. And there's 16 cars in the field. And it'll run for about 6 months. And then we'll start a new season. But we'll also have a couple special races in there with the goofy stuff just for fun.
Well, David definitely has the goofy stuff.
Tom, I think you've carved out an entirely new niche in the hobby. We've got gravity drag racing. We've got slot car racing. We don't have the hybrid
self-powered,
your favorite diecast. You spend the money, you get your diecast car that you love, you get this guy to put a motor in it, and you get to watch it on the track. That is amazing. Chuck, you imagine one of your customs.
Oh, I'm thinking about
going
it.
Down. Yeah.
Get a hold of Dale.
Yeah,
I'll give you his information.
I'm very curious how long it takes him to actually do that, to sit down and do it. I'm sure he's got it down to a science now that he's done like 2000. Yeah, he'd definitely be somebody we'd love to have on the show.
You should, he's a genius. He really is.
Yeah.
Can't speak highly enough of the guy. He's really made some neat stuff, and he stands behind his products. I've sent a few cars back to Chicago to have him fix them and send them back. Just have to pay the shipping.
Is the track up and running, Tom? Do we have juice to it?
It is. I just showed a car going down. You probably missed it because it was so fast. Which I got to make sure I'm not going to crash into the car that's already gone in the end. Otherwise, I'd have to walk. I got to walk all the way down.
I didn't even hear it. It was.
I did not. I literally missed it. I thought you were joking.
Yeah, it was like a magic trick. I saw you setting them up, and then all of a sudden they were gone. I was like, "What happened?"
Well, the problem is the cars will do a quarter in a second. I mean, that was the quarter mile time right there, 0.961. So basically 9.5 of a second in a quarter mile.
A little faster than IRL.
Yeah. You're looking at, I did the math, and a 1 second car is traveling about 947 scale miles per hour.
That's faster than the speed of sound.
That's like a bullet. A bullet goes about that fast. That is wild.
Real speed is about 14, 15 miles per hour, but you're getting that in 21 feet.
Sure.
So the acceleration of these things, I'd put one of these little electric cars up against a Ferrari.
Sure.
Yeah. In a 0 to 15 race.
Tom, do you foresee having multiple cameras set up when you've got this thing up and running?
Oh, exactly. That's one of the things that's taken time is I have 4 GoPros, and I'm working on camera angles and positions. That's one of the things I'm doing with the testing and the tuning right now. And then my wife is learning video editing. So we're going to I'm going to try to film it like you would see it on TV.
All right.
I'm going to have the actor's voice. I'm going to do my announcing through a modulator changer because this voice. But anyways, so we're getting it together. We're going to have multiple cameras. We're probably going to film it in slow motion.
That's my next,
because it actually looks a lot better in slow motion, and you can see the cars act, and you can see the sparks fly out the bottom.
Sure.
Let me reset the timer. And I got this timer off of eBay. A guy down in Columbia makes these. Slot Car Lucier, I think is his handle. There we go.
There he is.
The Slot Car Lucier. And it's a pretty good system. It has some glitches, but he's very proactive working with you. If it glitches, you just run another one. But it's a pretty good system, and it wasn't really super expensive. I think it was under $200.
Okay,
but that was just for the timer. Then you got to buy the track, the controllers, the power supplies, and this one runs dual power supplies. I think they're 30-volt power supplies.
Well, yeah, you're going that fast. You need a lot of power.
Yeah, and they do. So right now we're at pre-stage. So I'm going to push the cars up here. Trying to do this while looking through the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're in stage mode.
Oh, that's cool.
And now I got to grab open.
Oh, okay.
They gone.
There we go.
That would be so cool in slow-mo.
Right.
And that's their time. But we'll show you again real quick here.
Yeah, it happened so quickly. It just kind of blew by us.
So we're going to stay. I'm not going to run these cars because I got cars on the end. I don't want to collide into them.
Sure, of course.
As expensive as these guys are.
Okay, I see like a little mark on the track there.
We're in a pre-stage right now.
Okay, nothing's lit up.
Yeah. And then you can see the sensors right here.
Okay.
So you have to leave the cars off the sensor so that the sensor can calibrate.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to shove the cars up here. There we go. And we're looking through the camera, so it's all right. So now we're staged.
Okay, so
now it's going
to 0. Down. All right, boom.
Yep.
Okay.
There it is. That is so cool.
Pardon a noob asking this, but if Tom is running races by himself, does he have 2 triggers, one in each hand, or does one trigger just activate both sides of the track? Okay,
Yep,
you got 2 triggers.
Right, I'm doing them. It's complicated. I have to hit the reset, push the cars up, grab these in one hand, hit the start button on the cameras, and then I don't have much time. So
right, because I was gonna say once it's staged, and those things are so fast, you can't just have them like inch up to the line. I'm sure they just, if you tried to manually bring them up,
you got to
do technology to activate both off of one trigger.
Well, actually, I can wire in a button, and that's one thing I was thinking about doing is put it in like a doorbell button or something like that into it, where you just push it. And both tracks come out at the same.
Close, yeah.
And then it's all about whichever car was faster.
And then I can switch back. And then I can switch back to the standard controllers for if we want to play with the track.
Mm-hmm.
So are you just letting off the gas at the end, or is there a spot at the end of the track where it loses power? Like how do the cars stop?
The cars don't stop. That was part of the problem. They don't stop on their own. They run out of gas eventually, but right here is where the last power is. This is the finish line here. So from this point down to the end, which is another 19
wow,
they coast. And let's go find the cars. And you can see how far some of these cars will coast. We have the one, the Auto World right there. And then we got these other 2 guys back in here.
Yep.
I have these walls up because sometimes the cars, when they hit the end, they would bounce. One of these things hitting the floor. It's
$75 car. Yeah, you don't want that happening.
Yeah. And then I have a bunch of pads at the end that they can run into if they go all the way down. You can see that the vet down there is all the wall.
So do you have any house rules, like we're not having plastic wheels on this track? Everybody has to have rubber tires?
Well, if you don't have rubber tires, you're not going to go anywhere.
I was going to say, David, this is actually where you do want rubber tires because
now, I guess you got to have grip, right?
Completely different thing. You want friction, not lack of friction.
I'm telling you, this is a whole new genre of racing, and I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that invented it. I'm just the one that's kind of bringing it out.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Danny Cove that does a lot of conversions, which actually I can show you kind of one more of like what their style is. Now this car here just has a standard chassis underneath. And I use the front and back pieces of the chassis, the original chassis to pin it in. And that's how a lot of guys do it. But the problem with this is the car, you can see the chassis stick.
The wheelbase isn't perfect either. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to adjust for the wheelbase. The way that Dale does them, they sit like a regular car does. They have the right stance, the right look.
Sure. Yeah, and I love the guys at Auto World for keeping slot cars alive for the general public. like they have been, but they're operating with kind of like a universal chassis, so nothing ever looks right because they're adjusting the car bodies to fit the frame, not the other way around. So, and I think those are great. I think those are a great thing for getting people started in them in the hobby, and I'm thrilled that they're still out there, that you can get those at your hobby shops and stuff. But because that used to be my thing growing up, I had the Tyco tracks, and I thought those were like the coolest things. And then I started to dive into it a little bit, and then I saw like an actual competitive race where the cars were moving so fast that you couldn't even see them practically, and I was just like, that just doesn't feel like racing anymore. I get it's racing, but it doesn't feel like you're racing cars anymore. You're just racing a piece of electronics around a track that's going so unrealistically fast compared to what the car actually would do, that it just, I don't know. I mean, yeah. But like you said, years ago, 900 miles an hour, which in slow motion, that would look great. But in the moment when you're doing like a less than 1 second run, but that is so cool. I'm impressed that they're doing under 1 second with full metal setups. So I'm seeing a lot of really cool different buildings. A lot of those are these are scratch built, or are these from kits?
This one here is a scratch built one.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one I featured in how to build scratch build. I actually built that building for my YouTube channel to teach.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a teaching building. This one up here is what is it? I'm trying to think of DSL.
Okay.
Yeah. A guy out of Chicago, another guy out of Chicago, but he made really nice kits, DSL.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still find them on eBay, but he went out of the kit building business. He just decided to want to do it anymore. And I acquired a bunch of kits on eBay and other places. And so I started making them. And these are actually dioramas that I sell when I go to toy shows.
Okay, cool.
I have some little dioramas that I sell. Here's another one down here in the box ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just little.
Yeah, there's a guy that I really like. His name's Jimmy, and he has this thing called Monster Model Works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have every S scale kit that he sells. And I one day I'll put them together. I haven't had a chance to build any of them, but I've looked in them, and they look really nice. And he takes the models that he's shown photos of. They look fantastic. I keep telling him to do more. He has actually done a few more flats, and I think that's because every time he does a new building, I say I'd love to see a flat version of that. For those of us who have limited space, having a flat that you can put against that sticks out maybe 3/4 of an inch, 2 inches, and you can have it on the shelf on display. But I mean, one day diorama goals for sure with Acme City. I just love it. And I'm thrilled to finally be able to talk with you about this. And it's so cool. All the intricacies and the wiring and the lighting, and that's something I haven't delved into yet, is actually doing like lighting on a kit. So that's something I want to get to someday.
I teach how to do it.
All right.
Check out my YouTube channel. I explain, I have tutorials. I teach how to build all this. So if you want to learn how to build how I build, I teach it pretty much. I went pretty much step by step. But if you watch the videos, you should have a pretty good idea what to do. And then you can always ask questions. I'm always open to give out information. I've helped a lot of people. In fact, I've even done videos just because one of my viewers were like, "Hey, how did you do that? And how did you build that?" And then I'm like, "Okay, well, let me explain." And I would shoot a video and show exactly how I did it. And I did it just basically for one person.
That's great.
So yeah, anybody can, if you have just basic skills, you'll learn skills as you go on, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. You'll make a mistake and you'll be like, "Oh man, I'm terrible at this." No, just set it aside, go relax a little bit, come back to it, and look at how you can fix it. And if you can't fix it, well, then you learn from your mistake.
No mistakes, just happy accidents.
Yeah.
So, well, I love it. Well, again, Tom, thank you so much for taking us around Acme City. And again, folks, check out that YouTube channel. We'll link to it in the description. But this has been something that we've been in contact for a while, and I'm glad we were finally able to get this all together and see everything as it sits now, and get a little glimpse of what's ahead with the drag racing, and just so cool. Such a fun thing. And Tom, I can't thank you enough for spending a little bit of time with us. And again, folks, check him out, visit his channel, and you'll learn a lot from Tom. You'll see him all over Facebook as well, and a lot of the various groups. I see Tom's posts all the time, so he's more than happy to share his knowledge. And I think that's one of the best parts about this hobby, is us sharing knowledge with each other.
Yeah, I want to teach. I want people to learn how to do what I do, and I'm more than willing to answer any questions. So watch the videos, and if you got any questions about anything particular, just give me a shout. Put it in the comments, and I will respond. I'm also on Facebook. Acme City has its own page, so you can check that out on Facebook too. But YouTube is probably where I post most of my stuff.
All right. Check him out on YouTube, folks, and check out drivendreams.org as well. That's a YouTube channel. And Twice Diecast is still doing stuff every now and then, I think. But so check out Twice Diecast, and thank you for checking us out and making it to the end of another episode of Diecast Breakdown. If you've made it to the end, leave your little comment letting us know you're part of the closed down crew. We appreciate you, as well as the patrons that help make our show go. You can find out how to join their ranks again at diecastbreakdown.com, where you can visit our Patreon page, check out all our various links, or click the little join button. And again, Driven Dreams, right around the corner, Diecast Day of Giving, #DDOG. Make sure you're in and pledging your cars. Don't have to write a check. You don't have to lick a stamp. You just drop off cars to places in your area that help kids in need and brighten some kids' days, because one car equals one smile. So, as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thanks for listening to Diecast Breakdown. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend to listen in. Find Diecast Breakdown on your favorite social media platforms, or visit diecastmedianetwork.com to learn more about this and our other projects. Diecast Breakdown is a presentation of Flying Valiant and the Diecast Media Network.